Just about 2 years ago, Dave Smith from Arizona sent me several pieces of wood. One of them I've turned already. It's in a video called Saving My A. Today we're going to turn another piece from Dave. This is a piece of elm. This is a pretty heavy piece. The grain is quite tight. It's a real nice piece of wood. He says it looks really great finished and with the way the light reflects off the side grain. So I'm looking forward to that. I looked at this and wondered, well, what can I do with it? You know, it's kind of a small piece. It's about 4 3/4 this way, about 5 1/2 this way, about 3 1/2 inches thick at the thickest part. I haven't turned a winged bowl in a long time. And what that means is this part right here, along the edge, and along this edge, and this edge, and this edge, all 4 edges, that's going to be left untouched. I'm only going to turn up to it. I don't know how thick that wing will be, maybe 3/8, maybe 1/4 inch, maybe 1/2 inch, I don't know. So it'll be a bowl shape on the outside and it'll be a bowl shape on the inside, but it'll be relatively squarish around the 4 corners. Kind of fun to turn, kind of different to look at, and I thought we'd give it a try today. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or as we like to say here at Shady Acres Wood Shop, howdy. So this will be the top. I'm going to measure, find the center, drill a hole for my woodworm screw. We'll get it mounted up on the lathe and get to turning. So here's what we have, and we'll just get this on the lathe here. And we won't need tailstock support because this grain is so hard and tight. There's no way in the world that woodworm screw is going to let loose. I guess we'll start by flattening off the bottom some, and then we'll work on the corner. The piece is fairly well balanced, so we're going to be turning at about 1100 RPM, 5/8 inch bowl gouge, mask, and face shield on. That might do it. Go ahead and use my tailstock, my live center. Just lay my pencil on the live center and spin it around. And now we know where that is, so let's come over here to the corner. Looks like I could clean up my lathe bed a little bit. Kind of hard to slide my tool rest around. Now you can see the wing starting to develop there. Got a ways to go, of course. But we haven't turned anything here yet, so we got quite a ways to go on the bowl part. I don't want to go any farther than I have to, but I want to go far enough. I'm trying to get you see how we have a nice dip in here? Just beginning one here. Got a pretty good one there. Don't have one here at all. So we need that space on all 4 edges to balance it out on a piece like this. Normally we don't care about balancing stuff out, but this time we do. Okay, I can live with that. That's a definite now. Smaller than the rest, but it still looks like it's on purpose. Nice straight edges up here. Yeah, I think we're gonna go with a recess. There's just no point in taking more away than we have to. I've been asked more than once on how to sharpen my my Dovetail recess tool. This is what it looks like. I hope you can see that. I hope that's close enough. So you can see that bevel on there. Now I've taken this to my grinder. I haven't sharpened it on the grinder, but I've taken it to the grinder. And if I hold this at the right angle on there, I could actually sharpen this on my grinding wheel. I'm scared to because I'm afraid I'll slip and really ruin it. So I sharpen it by hand with a diamond card, and I'll show you what that looks like. I guess I'm not sure if everybody knows what a diamond card is. I assumed everyone knows, but maybe you don't. It's kind of like a credit card. That's where the card part comes from. And it's a steel plate embedded with diamond chips or diamond dust or whatever. This one's 300 grit on this side and 600 grit on that side. It's fairly thick. It won't get into that corner as tightly as I want it to. I have these other ones. I don't know what brand that is. I've had this for a long time. As I recall, it was fairly expensive. I don't know. I don't know. $20, $25, something like that. Then I bought this set, or maybe my wife bought this set for me. This is the DMT brand. I think most people have heard of that. Supposed to be one of the better brands there are. I don't know. This one has 3 different grits: coarse, fine, and extra fine. But it's also thick, like that other one is. And it won't get into that corner. It's a little tiny bit thinner than the other one, but not much. Then I have these really cheap ones that I got from PSI Woodworking, Penn State Industries Woodworking. And these were 2 for, I don't know, around $10, something like that. They're quite a bit thinner. They're probably less than half as thick as the others. And they will get into that corner. I hope you can see how they would do that. It gets right into that corner. So I'm going to use the 600 grit. You don't have to use anything on these, but I do. I have this lapping fluid, and it just keeps the stone from wearing out as quickly. So you just need a drop of this stuff on here. Now this is the hard part, but it's also not as hard as it looks. You just want to match up that bevel as best you can, and it's not necessarily easy. And just a couple of strokes. Nothing fast, nothing hard. I'm just working on this bevel right now. I'm not worried about that one yet. Just the small one. I've made one pass. There's another pass. And another pass. And I believe that's enough. I can feel it sharper already. Now I'm going to come over here and do the same thing on the larger bevel. Yeah, that's sharp. That's all you need to do. It's not a big deal. Well, that's not all you need to do. That's all you need to do for those parts. Now this part here, the end, you can use as a scraper, and it comes in handy. I don't use it as a scraper by itself, but if I'm using it to make the recess, I do. So then it's just a matter of following. That also has a bevel. I'm probably not doing too good with the camera here, sorry. But that's also a bevel. And it's the same thing. Just get that bevel kind of flat on here. I can actually see that bevel. I probably can't get you to see it. Maybe you can. You see right here? I missed it everywhere else, but I got it right here. I'm going to work on getting the rest of it. Okay, I think that'll work. Yeah, that's much sharper than it was a minute ago, I can tell you that. So just a diamond card, just a little bit of work, 5 minutes. And then it should last you quite some time. I don't know, 10 recesses, something like that, before you have to touch it up again. Okay, that's how I sharpen it. You do it your way. See, the tool itself is much thinner than my gouge. So now I'm way below center. I need to raise my tool rest up a little higher. And I'm leaving the center raised on purpose just for some visual interest. And here's where the scraper part comes in. Now when you're doing this, you don't need a whole big deep recess. It only needs to be at least 1/8 of an inch and not much more than 3/16. I'm still working on getting that dovetail just right. Yep, just right. Time for sanding. Now I'm well aware that some people are wondering, well, why did he stop here? Why didn't he go up until it was fully round? Well, I could have done that. And why doesn't he cut off these long wings to match the short wing? Why doesn't he do that? Let's get some perfection in this piece. Well, I'm just not into perfection. I'm just not. I can't help it. I like to show off the defects, and I'll sand this edge, but I'll only sand it very lightly. I want to leave a little bit of the nature in it. There's a little tiny bit of bark left there. I'm just going to lightly sand that and let it go. And over here where the saw marks are, I'll lightly sand that and I'll leave the saw marks. Otherwise, if you pick it up and it's perfect, it's like picking up a ceramic cereal bowl, you know? It's just perfect, but there's nothing about it. It's just perfect, that's all. There's nothing unique. You can't feel it and say, oh, look, oh, that's different. Oh, how about that? Saw cuts. It's just my nature. I'm sorry if it drives you crazy. I'm really sorry. Most of my regular viewers are used to it by now. I just can't help it. So I'm going to be sanding with the lathe in reverse at about 350 RPM, an 80 grit 2-inch sanding disc. I'm going to be wearing my mask, and I'll show you what that looks like as soon as I get that mask on. Now this is going to be a little more difficult, I imagine. You just want to use a real light touch when you're sanding the underside of those wings. So that's what it's going to look like, and it is going to take a little while. I've got some tool marks in there that'll take a little while to get out, but I'll get them out. I'll bring you back here in a little bit and we'll put some kind of finish on there. I'm not real sure just what. See you in a bit. Well, I just remembered that Dave also mentioned that feeding wax makes this elm look really good. So let's try that. Haven't used this in quite a little while. I always like the way it makes the wood feel, especially when there's some texture involved, like on these edges. It just it has a lot of wax in it and orange oil, and it just makes it kind of slippery, kind of smooth. And that seems like a good piece, or this seems like a good piece for that. Now I'm not going to put this on the inside yet because I need to sign it, and because of the wax the ink won't stick, so I'll put it in there, put it on there after I've signed it. And that's one of the many good things about this feeding wax. It doesn't interfere with ink. It won't dissolve the ink. Okay. Well, it does look good already, but it needs to set up here for about 20 minutes. I'll buff it up, and I'll bring you back and we will start working on the inside. See you in a bit. Wow. Well, I made a mistake. Anybody know what it is? You see that crack right there? That's where there's 4 jaws. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's where you want to put your thickness gauge inside that crack so that you can get back in there under the recess, into the recess. I can't get it into the recess because I made the recess just a tiny bit too small. I mean, it works, it fits. It's actually perfect as far as fit goes, but not as far as usability goes for determining how thick the bottom is. So I'm gonna have to be really careful when I get down in there. I'll show you what I mean when I start measuring for that. We got a ways to go before we get to that point. We're gonna be turning at 1400 RPM, 5/8 inch bowl gouge, mask, and face shield on. Now you'll notice I didn't go all the way out here to the corners. That's because I think you get a better cut coming in rather than going out. I think when you go out, there's the possibility of chipping that corner. And when you come in with just the point, nice sharp point, it'll just peel it right off. So I'll do that coming in this way. I also have to decide, I should have said all this before I got my mask on. I also have to decide if I'm going to put a bead around the opening. I like to do that on a flat top like this. It adds a little interest, but if you remember, this side here only has, the bead would be about here, but over here, the bead's going to be down here. And here, it would be about there. And here it'd be about there. What I'm doing is feeling the outside edge of the bowl part. And remember that one edge, I just barely got it down below this edge here. So what that'll do is it'll put a bead that's offset, off center. It'll be over this way, and then it'll be, I guess it'll be fairly well, no, this side here is longer. Over here it's going to be clear in here, and here it'll be about here. So I guess I'll try it. I'll come in from the edge, try and create a bead. You want the bead to be even with the top of the bowl, the outside part. I hope all this is easy to follow. Probably isn't. I'll see how it looks. I can always take it off if it doesn't work. But the important part is to get those corners with just the point of the gouge, just a nice sharp point of that gouge, and just bring it in there, even with the top of the outside of the bowl. We'll see. Now see, it's real close to the edge here, the bead. Here we've got a big space, here a medium space, here the largest space. But I don't know if that's going to look good or bad, or that's because it's a rectangle for one thing, and then it's not perfectly centered for another thing. Like I said, I can always take it off. I'll go ahead and go with that. Now it won't be that wide. I'm just looking to see if it looks okay. Yeah, I guess it does. You know, since everything else is kind of screw-wacky, might as well have screw-wacky all over the place, right? going to use this beading tool to make that perfect. Yeah, that looks okay to me. What do you think? I'm going to go sharpen up. I have not made a depth gauge that'll work. Well, I haven't made a depth gauge, so I have to kind of fake it here. I'm going to go about another 1/4 inch or so. I just don't want to get up into that recess, that's for sure. I think I'll do a little shear scrape along this side here. See if I can clean up my cut a little bit. Well, one more pass this way. I can measure my sidewalls. Well, I can take it down more on the side right here. Okay, I think I'll use my negative rake scraper if I can clean that up a little bit. Probably need to put another burr on there. Let's see. Yeah, I'm getting nowhere with that. I've shown this a few times, how to put a burr on the scraper. Just rest your round shank screwdriver on the bevel and then just come around there and raise that edge up. Whew. Okay, time for sanding. I'm going to be sanding with my 2-inch sanding disc starting at 80 grit just because I've got a few tool marks along this top edge and maybe a little tiny bit in here, not bad. I am going to stay away from my bead at 80 grit because that'll just take it right down to nothing. So I won't start sanding the bead until, I don't know, 180, 240, something like that. And And I'll be spinning the lathe forward and reverse at about 400 RPM. I'll show you what that looks like as soon as I get my mask on. We'll start out sanding forward. And then reverse. Well, that won't be too bad. I'll bring you back here in a bit and we'll put some finish on there. See you in a bit. What do you think so far? I think it looks pretty nice. Beautiful grain. Feels smooth as silk. I'll let that set up for about a half hour. I'll buff it up, which is just spinning it at high speed with a cloth rag, and it'll be ready to take a good look at. And we'll do that in just a little bit. Well, here it is. One elm winged bull in the books. Be sure when you leave me a comment, and please do leave me a comment, I love them. Let me know if it just drives you crazy that it's not concentric, that we have big wide sides, and then we have a kind of a medium side, and then we've got a narrow side. Is that driving you crazy? Do you like this shape at all? Maybe you don't even like the shape. Maybe you think I'm crazy. What's wrong with you, Phil? You're crazy? But it's got beautiful grain, huh? Just beautiful. And it does feel, just like I said, it just feels silky smooth. That finish does a real nice job. And I got it sanded up quite nicely as well. It just feels good. I hope you like it, but if you don't, let me know. If you do, let me know. Thank you, Dave Smith, for sending this along for all to enjoy. If you like this video, thumbs up please, I'd sure appreciate it. If you're a subscriber, thank you very kindly. I truly appreciate that. If you're not a subscriber, you might consider becoming one. I put out regular videos about one a week, and I'd like to keep in touch. An easy way to subscribe is just click my picture you see there near the end of the video. Your comments are always welcome, and I love reading them. So for now, this is Phil, Shady Acres Woodshop, signing off.